Like I said, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome into live. Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained yet? Because, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and children of all ages, I'm telling you right now, what I'm watching coming down the pipeline, poor Alberta. You know, Albertans are a strong group of people. We are a blue-collared lifestyle built on entrepreneurship and straight, hard-working people who just want to be left alone. And you've been duped. You've been duped once again. And Danielle Smith, this message is for you. You are a globalist. I've watched you fundamentally tear apart Alberta while I sat back and I was told, trust the plan, Pat. We got this. Danielle is in our pocket. She's okay. The UCP board's going to make sure that she toes the line. And then the first thing I recognized when I saw what she did was when she violated the Bill of Rights in Alberta, when she put the notwithstanding clause in. And things that have happened in Alberta since I've left just in July have me wondering, seriously, where does Danielle Smith's loyalty truly lie within the province of Alberta? When she states straight up, oh, we're in independent Alberta in a united Canada. Not going to happen, lady. Never will happen. And Albertans, pay attention to what she's doing. Danielle, I'm pretty pissed off with your little globalist Mark Carney and your little buddy trying to make these little plans with Alberta, saying that Alberta's going to get us through all of this stuff. Alberta ain't going to get through this. Albertans, they are not going to allow you to separate. When they do, when you get your referendum and you put it up, the Clarity Act is going to be put into place. Not only is the Clarity Act going to be put into place, they also have a backdoor deal with some other influential people that can sway this whole nation. It has been set in stone through British Columbia with the land grabs that you've been witnessing, and that is just laying down the foundation for the next province to be taken, for the next province to be held accountable. Get ready, guys. Alberta, she's been lying to you. And Danielle, you're on notice. I'm going to play this next video for you guys, ladies and gentlemen, and just watch and listen. I'm going to pause in between, and I'm going to bring you up to speed on what's really, truly going on.
Hello, my name is Jeffrey Rath. I'm from Foothills. For everybody in this room, after that so-called MOU was signed yesterday, the ink wasn't dry on the paper, and Mark Carney went out and gleefully announced a 600% increase to the industrial carbon tax in Alberta. My question for the room is, how many of all of us favor a free and independent Alberta?
They've cut the mic.
I support an independent Alberta within a united Canada. That is my position. And I just ask everybody to be mindful that this party is a merger of two parties with different cultural traditions, and sometimes the way we solve disputes is by solving them through referenda. Now, I know that your group has been going through a court process to try to get your question validated. I'm watching that with great interest. And then we'll see. I have said that if enough citizens want to put this question on a ballot through Citizens Initiative, we will do that. And so that is the way we're going to address that. But I have to correct what Jeff said. We have
All right, I'm not going to let that play out anymore because that whole video is Danielle Smith blowing smoke up Albertans' asses. Straight up. There will never be an independent Alberta within a united Canada. Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, she is absolutely doing everything she can to stop what Albertans have worked hard for, and have put on the table, and have definitely gone further than most provinces have ever gone when it comes to the independence and being self-sufficient and not reliant on the federal government. And ladies and gentlemen, Danielle Smith is playing right into Mark Carney's hands. We see it time and time again. I'm going to share this with you, and I want you guys to see this straight up. Let me open this up, and I got to close this. This is the only issue I have is when I try to use these specific windows, I have to do this. But the other ones, when I queue up the videos, you're gonna understand what I'm trying to show you. But here's the big one that I want to show you guys right here. When you see this, okay, the MOU that Mark Carney and Danielle Smith have opened up for Alberta. What Alberta can celebrate, at least on paper, is a cap on the oil and gas production removed. We already had that, ladies and gentlemen. We already had that cap done. Net zero power rules withdrawn. It doesn't matter. Ottawa dictates our energy policies. So this is a pipe dream, literally a frickin' pipe dream. Pipeline discussions included, but never guaranteed. What Alberta has to now swallow, this is the bad part. You have a carbon tax increase to $130 per ton. Net zero to 2050 locked in. Bullshit. You'll never get to net zero. Mandatory methane cuts. Costly CCUS's pathways pushed forward. No, the ugly part, there is no pipeline guarantee, ladies and gentlemen. There is no pipeline guarantee. But I can tell you this much. I can straight up tell you exactly this. BC and the First Nations maintain the veto. And if you don't know, I covered a story back in 2019 with regards to the pipeline going to Kitimat, BC, going all the way there from North Fort Saskatchewan. All right. The Haisla First Nations is 51% owners of that whole facility. The First Nations are involved, and if they're not getting their cut, ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you straight up, you're not getting your pipeline. Ottawa still controls pipelines, ports, and shipping. No, they don't. Ottawa doesn't own our ports. And I'm going to bring up a video for you guys here in 2 seconds to show you that Ottawa doesn't own our ports. And in fact, it's Dubai ports. The Royal Arab Emirates own our Vancouver Harbor, and they also own the Kitimat Prince Rupert Harbor. Don't believe me? Look it up yourself. Alberta's energy corridors stay bottled up by federal politics. We know this. Mark Carney just blew smoke straight up Albertans' asses. And Danielle Smith, well, she lit the pipe. Alberta cannot win inside this system. You never will. Ottawa controls the energy policy. They control the carbon policy. Billions leave Alberta every year. Alberta cannot control its economic destiny inside Canada. Straight up. You will never, ever, ever, ever get away from this federal government. And I'm not trying to scare anybody. I'm not trying to deter anybody. You're already independent. Statute of Westminster in 1931. Each province is independent of the crown. Each province runs their own show. Look it up. I am sick and tired of watching Danielle Smith get away with this shit. And for those out there, if you're not aware, Mark Carney has done something very detrimental. Justin Trudeau tried to do it by investing it into Mumbai, into sustainable development housing in Mumbai while he was in power. And guess what Mark Carney just did? Ladies and gentlemen, hold on to your frickin' socks. This should scare the absolute bejesus out of you. And every Canadian should be concerned about this. Share this out far and wide. Don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, if you care to, down in the ticker, please, PatKingAppealFund@gmail.com. Obviously, I'm back in court again. I'm going back for an appeal because the Crown didn't get their 10 years. They want 5 more. Anything helps. Next one.
When a political figure stands on a stage and says things like,
the Minister of Finance will lead a delegation of Canada's pension funds. $2 trillion of capital, which almost begins to sound significant in the UAE. $2 trillion in capital. the Canadian pension funds. They will come here next year early to deepen existing partnerships and develop new investment opportunities together.
That's not a small statement. That is not harmless wording. And that is not how someone talks about a fund that they don't control. Canada's pension assets do not belong to Ottawa. They do not belong to any prime minister or future prime minister. They do not belong to federal departments. They belong to workers, and they are managed independently for a reason. To keep them from political hands, to keep them isolated from global deals, and to keep them protected from whatever agenda is happening in the moment. So when someone at the federal level, especially a prime minister, starts referencing our pension fund as if they are a government resource or something that they can showcase internationally, people react, and honestly they should. Because even if it is technically a business delegation or an investment mission, the framing is wrong. The language is wrong, the tone is wrong, and it blurs the line between independent retirement savings and political capital. Now here's where it gets even more important. Alberta legally can withdraw from the CPP. It is written directly into the federal legislation. And now if Alberta ever chose to leave, Alberta is entitled to its full actuarial share of the CPP fund. That means billions in assets would be transferred to an Alberta pension plan, not cashed out to individuals, not lost, not erased, transferred, protected, still belonging to Albertans. Now, Ottawa does not want Alberta to leave because Alberta is younger, higher earning, and one of the strongest contributors, keeping CPP stable. So when people see federal leaders speaking about the $2 trillion in pension assets as if it's part of their toolbox, Albertans get suspicious. And that suspicion is not crazy, it is logical. So now let me ask the question that's on everyone's mind. Alberta, do you think Danielle is going to pull our assets? Is that going to be her next move? Let me know what you think in the comments.
So now I'm going to share this with you. Ladies and gentlemen, back in 2019, when we were speaking in rather vocal, as Alberta was starting to wake up from its slumber, as we were starting to stand up and say enough is enough, we are not going to be the welfare providers for the rest of the country. We held things called, where's my Albertans in the chat? Do you not remember Jason Kenney, right before COVID, held meetings and conferences called the Alberta Fair Deal Plan? Guys, we did this. What did Danielle Smith do just in the last part of the year? She's been holding these conferences around Alberta, and all you guys scooped it up. Did you forget? Did you friggin' forget so quickly during the vid what the hell we had worked hard for? I am getting pissed off at watching people lull back into their slumber while we stood up loud and proud and we got shit done. This needs to be talked about. This needs to be addressed. The Alberta Fair Deal Plan in 2019 to identify and address issues concerning Alberta's role and representation within Canada. Key recommendations from the 2020 Fair Deal Plan report included the pension plan, police force, equalization payments, other recommendations. Guys, we've been through this already. You allowed her to continue to stall the ball. She has manipulated Albertans once again for her global agenda. When will people rise up? When will you stand and let her know enough is enough? I've had it, man. We worked hard, man. We worked diligently. We worked as a team to make sure that Alberta moved forward, not backwards. And now Mark Carney decides he's going to step in and he's going to manipulate you. He's going to tell you, we got this new plan for Alberta. We're going to put the pipelines in. No, he's not. And he's not going to put the pipelines in for Alberta. He's going to put them in for Brookfield Asset Management, which was just like BGS. Do you not remember when BGIS got all the abandonment contracts? BGIS had nothing to do with the oil and gas industry. BGIS took over all the abandonment projects, and then they had to subcontract all the projects out. Well, the government gave them huge, huge grants. And what did BGIS turn into? Anybody? Anybody in the chat? Oh, yeah, Brookfield Asset Management bought up BGIS. Oh, isn't that interesting? Do you not see this as a money laundering scam in Alberta? You are being taken for a fool. Danielle Smith is playing on your, and I'm sorry to say this, your stupidity for not standing back up and rising up to this woman and rising up to this political oligarch that is the UCP government, that is tied deeply within the WEF, which is tied in deeply to the Canadian federal government. Danielle, you have messed up again. And I'm not going to stand back, and I'm not going to let this happen to my Alberta. And I'm going to call it my Alberta. Although I'm living in Quebec presently, it is still the province that I called home for over 30 years, that gave me the life, that raised my children, that provided a life for me and my family, and gave us a great opportunity to actually feel like we were Canadians. And Alberta, you got this. Stand up. Don't let her turn your mic off like they did to Jeffrey Rath. Do not let them push you over again. Danielle is blowing smoke straight up your ass. And I'm going to show you something, ladies and gentlemen. In this next video, this one takes the cake. And then I'm going to show you something where Mark Carney cannot be dictating where your CPP pensions are going. But watch this video.
The federal government's ethics law is unfortunately a sad joke. And the House committee must recommend closing a dirty dozen loopholes in the law. The loopholes allow the Prime Minister, cabinet ministers, their staff, and top government officials, the most powerful decision makers in the federal government, to all secretly profit from their decisions.
Crazy.
Loopholes also allow for blind trusts that are not actually blind, and ethics smokescreens that hide but do not stop conflicts of interest.
We've been saying that from day one.
The Conflict of Interest Act is so full of loopholes, it really should be called the almost impossible to be in a conflict of interest act. The loopholes mean that the act actually does not even apply to 99% of the decisions and actions of the Prime Minister, cabinet ministers, and top government officials.
Stop.
And their staff.
Stop.
And to put it in the reverse, the act only applies 1% of the time. That's how loophole-filled it is. There's more loopholes than there are law.
You said 1%?
In the Conflict of Interest Act. The Conflict of Interest Act, despite applying to the most powerful decision makers in the federal government, is actually weaker than the rules for senators and weaker than the rules for federal government employees, including the rules that apply to public servants who have the least power in terms of decision making under the federal government system. The rules are also as weak as the ethics rules for backbench MPs, who also have very little power in terms of decision making and policy making. These loopholes exist in every ethics law across Canada at the provincial, territorial, and municipal level. They all have the general application loophole, which means that their laws do not apply 99% of the time to decisions and actions of politicians and others that the laws apply to. And so it's difficult to get politicians to strengthen rules that apply to themselves.
The whole thing's corrupt. The whole thing's corrupt. Burn it all down. Burn it all down. It's all done. It's all done. I can't. No, I can't.
He's got a point. Burn it all down, right? How do you do this? How do you allow this? We have a federal government that has so many loopholes in the ethics and accountability of our politicians that no matter what, you are going to get screwed either way you go. I want to share this with you, ladies and gentlemen. Anybody out there know straight up what fiduciary law is? Now, they say they've got loopholes. They say they've got things that can, get themselves out of these things. SNC-Lavalin was one of those loopholes. This is why Justin can't be held liable, can't be held in court. But fiduciary law is a person or an entity that has a legal duty to act in the best interest of another person. Where have you heard this before, ladies and gentlemen? Acting in the best interest of another person. Isn't that what a government, federal government's job is to do what's in the best interest of its people? Right. Are you catching on yet? This is the highest duty recognized in law, higher than ordinary negligence or contract duties. Examples of fiduciaries, lawyers, trustees, corporate directors, the crown government, sometimes to citizens or specific groups. Financial advisors. What makes a fiduciary relationship? Courts look for three elements: power or discretion. The fiduciary has power over an important aspect of the beneficiary's life: money, rights, or interests. Vulnerability or dependence. The beneficiary must rely on the fiduciary to act honestly and loyally. In fact, we just found out that under the ethics portion, they're not acting loyally, are they? The fiduciary law states that the government of Canada must do what's in the best interest of Canada when they are taking our money and they are investing it into programs. In fact, Mark Carney is looking to profit by a huge number in the billions after investing your CPP funds. He does not have the right to do that. He does not get to benefit that. It's a violation of fiduciary law. You are allowed to invest the money into programs, into investments for the trustees, and upon profits being gained, those profits go back into the country, back into the citizens' pockets, back into Canada, not into your pocket. That is a direct violation of fiduciary law. Next one. Now, for those that are paying attention, for those that are taking notes in the class, once a fiduciary relationship exists, the fiduciary must obey. Okay? They must obey. Listen to me, Mark Carney. Listen to me, politicians in Ottawa. You must obey. You have a duty of loyalty. No self-dealing, no personal benefit, no conflict of interest, Mr. Carney. Duty of good faith. Must act honestly at all times. Oh, let me guess. When a politician is talking, he's telling the truth, right? Duty of full disclosure. Provide all relevant information and not hide risks or decisions. Duty to avoid conflict of interest. Cannot put their own interest ahead of the beneficiaries. I got to play it.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
I know that's not why I'm here. I'm sick and tired of being the fall guy for everything. I'm sick and tired of watching Canadians get screwed left and right. Somebody out there has to have the money, has to have the ability, and the lawyer who has the gonads and has the balls to stand up to this crown government, to these oligarchs, and file these fiduciary claims. I have made my statement of claim to file against the Canadian government, to file against personally Mark Carney, Justin Trudeau, and all the politicians that are violating our fiduciary laws and manipulating our investments for their own personal greed. We have something here, ladies and gentlemen. We have an opportunity that we can take down the whole government under this law. Is there a lawyer in the house that has the balls to step up? Alberta, you have the ability to take your pension, request it back from the government right now. What happened? Mark Carney made this promise to the United Arab Emirates that our CPP will be invested into their economy to help them. And in the investment, we will get back a huge sum profit. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what did he do so that Alberta didn't pull their pension plan away? He went and gave you a smoke and mirrors tactic, a sideline on the left while you couldn't see what was going on the right. And he promised you a pipeline you're never going to get. In fact, you already got it 15 years ago. The stake was already pounded into the ground in Kitimat, BC. Our pipelines were already going in. Kinder Morgan pipeline that was going in, the TMX that was taken away, Justin Trudeau purchased for $400 million and took it from the private sector and put it in our own pockets. No, he took it for profit. Ladies and gentlemen, you've been absolutely bamboozled today. Over the weekend, I've been building this story up because it's absolutely toxic for Alberta. It is absolutely toxic for the rest of Canada. And unfortunately, everybody out there, everybody has to file a statement of claim against the Canadian government, against Mark Carney, against Justin Trudeau, and grab your CPP pensions right now, or else you're not going to have anything left. If you don't step up in this time right now as Canadians, it's over. And you're going to step back and watch the demise of our country. You are not going to get away with this, Mark Carney. To the federal government, people aren't going to allow you to do this anymore. Canadians need to stand. You need to stand on both feet, draw your line in the sand, and say enough is enough. We cannot continue going down this path. I've got another video that I want to share with you, and I think it's fundamental for you guys to listen to this video 100%, because this man had the balls to stand up in the European Union and call it out. In fact, after Hungary pulled $50 billion from, I think it was 50 billion or 50 million, one of the two, Hungary refused Ukraine money. And Zelensky decided he's going to throw a temper tantrum and walked away and stormed out of the European Union. But this man calls it out.
Stop with your green scam. You are lying to the people. Nobody is saving the planet here. While you are banning normal cars with combustion engines for ordinary citizens of the European Union and making their lives more expensive with new taxes and emission permits, even for the households, some overpopulated countries somewhere in Asia, like India or Malaysia, are filling the oceans with endless amounts of plastic waste every day. The only things you care about is how to gain more control over the people's lives, is how to gain more power, and of course, how to make more money. You are enriching yourselves at the expense of taxpayers' hard work and selling them fake idea about saving the planet. But majority of people in the European Union, they do not want to get rid of the fossil fuels. They do not want to pay for your social and ideological experiments. And that's why the only real conclusion of any climate conference should be that there will be no climate conferences in the future until the EU officials will not come to the common sense again.
That man deserves a medal. That man calls it out. He calls it out exactly the way it is. Stand up, ladies and gentlemen. We need to put these people on notice. I've got my statement of claim. I worked it out. It's on my phone right here, and I will be putting it through to the Ottawa courts to make sure that Mark Carney, or at least Justin Trudeau, are put on notice 100%, and that they are going to be taken into court and charged with fiduciary law violations. We have spoke about this time in and time again for over 10 years. It's time that we have a rise to action. It's time that we do this. Oh. AI is listening to me.
Fiduciary law violations is a complex legal.
Yeah, too much. Too much, AI. Shut up. Understand this, ladies and gentlemen. There's more to these stories than we know. There's more to this stuff. There's more than you know of what's really going on in Canada. They're not going to allow you to step away from the crown. We are the piggy bank. We are the money laundering capital of the world. TD Bank proved it. TD Bank, if you don't realize it, and you don't see, I see a comment of claim for everyone to copy in the comments after the live. I do have a copy of my statement of claim. Let me just go to my downloads, see where it is. Documents, statement of claim, Mark Carney. I do have my statement of claim all ready to go. Okay. And I'll show it to the camera. I don't know if it's going to show it, but it states Ontario Court, Patrick James King against Mark Joseph Carney. Statement of claim form. I'll put this together for you guys. You'll have to do it yourself somehow. Change your names. I'll make an edited copy so that you guys can do this. And it's time that we do it as a class action lawsuit from all Canadian citizens, every single one of us. And we don't need a lawyer. I'm tired of lawyers. I'm tired of watching these bullshit lawyers do us harm, more harm than good. It's time that we stand up. We have this court appeal. Why do you think they're coming at me so hard? It's because of the information that I bring forward to you guys. But I still stand here. I still stay proud and true in my convictions of what's going on. I am pissed right off. I have watched this time in and time again, going down, down, down. My kids deserve a future. You know that whole saying, I worked an arm and a leg? Well, I worked a leg away for this country. Do I not feel that I'm owed something? You're absolutely correct, I do. 100%. But also you as Canadians are owed. You can be the richest country in this world, in the whole world. We could be the richest, most peaceful, most loving, and most beneficial to the rest of the globe if we just stood up. If we just took a stand and stopped being so passive and stopped being so complacent and feeling that, hey, you know, we can't do anything. The convoy proved that you could. The convoy proved that it was a beautiful thing and that it's a good time for Canadians to rise up. You still can do it. You still can. And you don't need the crown. We have the ability to govern ourselves. We have the ability to show the rest of the world who the fuck we are. Pardon my language. You see, Canadians, we're strong. Don't doubt yourselves. We've gone into every battle and every conflict and every war, and we've won. Did you know that? Or did you know that the history had been rewritten to show that the Americans were the winners? Every time the Americans were in a sticky situation, who did they call? They called the Canadians. Why is the Geneva Convention even invented? Because of the ruthless tactics Canadians do. Because when you called us in, we told you to hold our beer. Watch this. Well, once again, Canadians, it's time. It's time for you to pass your beer off to your loved ones and say, I'll be back. Don't let it get empty. I've got one more that I want to show you guys. This one's a little bit longer. So if you have to go for a smoke or you have to get a coffee, I suggest you grab one. Grab yourself a drink. But this one's going to wake you up, and it's going to wake you up fast.
Hello. My name is Montague William III. And what I will tell you may well sound absurd, but the less who believe it, the better for me. For you see, I'm in banking and a big industry. For many a year we have controlled your lives, while you all just struggle and suffer in strife. We created the things that you don't really need, your sports cars and fashions and plasma TVs. I remember it clearly how all this begun. Family secrets from father to son, inherited knowledge that gives me the edge, while you people lie sleeping at night in your beds. We control the money that controls your lives. Whilst you worship false idols and wouldn't think twice about selling your souls for a place in the sun, these things that won't matter when your time is done. But as long as they're there to control the masses, I just sit back and consider my assets, safe in the knowledge that I have it all, while you common people are losing your jobs. You see, I just hold you in utter contempt. But the smile on my face, well, it makes me exempt. For I have the weapon of global TV, which gives us connection and invites empathy. You would really believe that we look out for you, while we bankers and brokers are only a few. But if you saw that, you'd take back the power. Hence, daily terrors to make you all cower. The panics, the crashes, the wars, and the illness that keep you from finding your spiritual wholeness. We rig the game, and we buy out both sides to keep you enslaved in your pitiful lives. So, go out and work as your body clock fades. And when it's all over, a few years from the grave, you'll look back on all this, and just then you'll see that your life was nothing, a mere fantasy. There are very few things that we don't now control. To have lawyers and police force was always a goal, doing our bidding while you march on the street. But they never realize that they're only just sheep. For real power resides in the hands of a few. You voted for parties. What more could you do? But what you don't know is they're one and the same. Old Gordon has passed good old David the reins, and you'll follow the leader who was put there by you. But your blood, it runs red, while our blood runs blue. But you simply don't see it's all part of the game. Another distraction, like money and fame. Get ready for wars in the name of the free, vaccinations for illness that will never be, the assault on your children's impressionable minds, and a microchipped world. You'll put up no fight. Information suppression will keep you in tone. Depopulation of peasants was always our goal. But eugenics was not what we hoped it would be. Oh yes, it was us that funded Nazis. But as long as we own all the media too, what's really happening does not concern you. So just go on watching your plasma TV, and the world will be run by the ones you can't see.
Isn't that an interesting one for you guys? Isn't that the truth? Doesn't that scare each and every one of you guys? That you've been lied to, you've been duped, while these guys sit there and get richer and richer and richer? This should bring some attention to everybody out there, for everybody to understand that this game was never built for you to win. It was always built for them. To the point that, ladies and gentlemen, it's actually starting to come down to a more serious and sinister plot. You see, Canada is a national park to the rest of the world. Our resources, our landmass, our population, we are but infants to the rest of the world. We were only founded a few hundred years ago. We were only put on this side of the country for one reason and one reason only: to be slaves, to continue to feed the coffer, to make sure that you're a good citizen and you pay your taxes. The War of 1812 wasn't just a war of Canadians versus Britons. We burnt the White House down. We stood up. We were counted. And we were given such resilience and such pride and such culture from those type of events. We were founded by immigrants? Absolutely. But why? Why did we venture across those seas to a land that we had no idea existed? For what? To get away from the monarchy, to build a nation for ourselves of we the people, by the people, for the people. And at some point, we lost it. At some point, we became overwhelmed with strife, disasters, wars. But Canadians always rose up. We always stood tall. We were always counted. And we were always counted on. Well, it's time, ladies and gentlemen, that Canadians need to be counted again. We as Canadians need to show our resilience. We need to show who we truly are. Because if we don't, we are going to be obsolete. We are going to be a thing of the past. We are going to be systematically erased from the history books. If you don't believe me, I have one more video that truly should scare you. The eradication of our history, of where we came from, of who we are, is fundamentally being installed into prestigious universities across the globe to slowly dismantle who we are. I'm not joking. I'm not trying to scare you. I'm trying to inform you and to educate you. Because, ladies and gentlemen, things are getting very, very serious. Watch this one.
Cambridge University has updated its curriculum on Anglo-Saxon, Norse, and Celtic history and plans to now teach that Anglo-Saxons did not exist as a distinct ethnic group, stating that the change is in a bid to combat racism and nationalism.
Blasphemy!
In general, ASNC teaching seeks to dismantle the basis of myths of nationalism, that there ever was a British, English, Scottish, Welsh or Irish people with a coherent and ancient ethnic identity, by showing students just how constructed and contingent these identities are and always have been.
The university will also teach that there has never been any actual Scottish, Welsh, or Irish identities with ancient roots, as they were also constructed. While some academics agree on the term Anglo-Saxon is problematic, there's far from a consensus, as the term is well established in historical and academic vocabulary.
I'd rather fight beside you than any army of thousands. Let no man forget how menacing we are. We are lions! You know what's there?
Cambridge University has updated its curriculum on Anglo-Saxon.
We are more than lions, ladies and gentlemen. We are warriors. Canadians, I will stand beside you every inch of the way. But enough is enough. And we need to stand up. And we need to make these governments obsolete. You are not going to eradicate the history on the foundation of this country, albeit the things in the past that they have traumatized you with to make you feel that, oh, you poor Canadians, you don't know what you did. This identity politics, this virtue signaling, as much as you don't agree, they are slowly dismantling your culture, your heritage, and your God-given right to survive. To the minority groups out there, to our First Nations people, this is our cry to you. This is our warrior call. We see what they did to you. We see what they did to our nations. We stand with you. We protect you. And we will fight alongside with you. We will make sure that this country again becomes free for each and every one of us. To our First Nations people, I preach this to you right now. I call out to stand up and take your country back, as they have done throughout history to eradicate culture from this land, from this globe, as they have done to our First Nations people. They are doing to the rest of the Canadian culture that helped build this country. It is time we put our differences aside. It's time we stop allowing Ottawa to pit brother against brother. It is time that we stand, and it is time that we tell them no more. Freedom is your inalienable right. And I mean that. It is your God-given right, your creator-given right. It is our right to be free. I know to a lot of people, you're going to sit there and go, but this, and this. Stop. Everybody, left, right, center, up, down, no matter what race, ethnicity, creed, religion, no matter who you are. This is the call for each and every one of you to protect our God-given land, our freedom to exist, and our right to leave a future for our children. I cannot stand by anymore and be idle. I cannot watch the systematic dismantling of our democracy. It is time we, the people, tell this government, kick rocks. Start packing. You failed at your job. We have the worst management team in Canadian history that has been overseeing our fundamental right to survive in Canada for an oligarch group of elites that are playing chess on our backs. Do you not feel that at this point in history that the serfs will eventually rise? Do you not feel it in your heart, in your core, the goosebumps on your arms? The call to action is now, and it's time for Canadians to take a stand. I will post up my statement of claim. I will make it available for people out there who want to get in on this. I will file this myself. I will go at this government myself. I don't want to. I want to take you all with me. I want millions of Canadians to get behind this and protect your children's futures. To show this government that we are in charge, not you. To these politicians out there, understand something true that you've never thought of. Canadians won't back down. I know there's some good people out there that are ready to do some serious freedom fighting. That's my message to you guys, ladies and gentlemen. That's where I'm at. I've had enough of watching what's going on. I've had enough of watching every Canadian suffer while they riddle us with drugs and don't provide rehabilitation. While the BC government allows land grabs to be a precedent-setting monumental court case on the basis of reconciliation, when really all you're doing is laying the path and laying the foundation for the multi-millionaire, bought and paid for corrupt band members, and yes, I'm saying it, that you have paid off and that you have funneled millions of dollars into their pockets to push this narrative to get ready for what you're planning in the future. If you can't get it through Canadians, you're going to manipulate our First Nations people again to attempt to show them that, oh, we're being polite, we're being reconciled to our First Nations people. You know, the ones that know how corrupt your band offices are, who know how you're paid and bought and paid for council members are. You know what's going on. Stand up. Stand up. Be counted. It's our time, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm not going to stand back and let it happen anymore. I hope this message hits every one of you right in the heart. I hope each and every one of you wake up and I share this video, share this live, show people exactly who you are, and don't allow them to push us any further. Remember that time when a bunch of truckers decided that enough was enough? I do. And I'll always remember that. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it. I'm done.